A very bold topic. There is a common misconception that you have to be an extrovert to come out to the stage and speak to the audience. Being an introvert like myself, the fact that I'm standing here in front of the large audience and that everything is being recorded is an art of speaking itself. Because the fact that I'm still able to speak means a lot to me. As I was introduced, I'm a developer by nature. And I was expecting that after some time I will be able to do these sessions without stage fright. But the fact is that still, like a couple of years later, I still have the same stage fright and same issue when I start to talk, and my voice starts to tremble, and it takes me some time to stabilize and be able to deliver the content. So I'm a developer, which means that most of the time I have a communication with my computer, and if I make a syntax error, I don't get judged by that. Everything works really well. Which is not the case when you do a public appearance. So the real question here is, why am I doing this? Why am I exposing myself to a stress? Why am I doing all this panicking? Why do I need this? To me, public speaking is sort of adrenaline rush. It puts me in survival mode. It sends me to fight or flight, to think, fight or flight, should I just cancel it out or should I continue? And during the preparation phase, when I'm building my topic, I usually analyze what I have to deliver, and then I see that I have certain gaps in the knowledge. Those gaps are actually the stuff that bring you down when you talk to the audience. The stuff that you didn't cover, you just kind of overlooked them and left them standing there, and your audience is left with the questions. So I usually tend to eliminate those gaps before I start to speak, and in that process, when I'm eliminating those gaps, I'm actually doing more research and learning more and more. And that part that I have to do keeps me moving, and I keep constantly improving. And that is the reason why am I doing public speaking. It's not something I'm comfortable with, but it's something that I got addicted to. Some people do public speaking just for the fame and glory. The other people do it because they like to share their knowledge with the community. Whatever the reason is behind it, it really does not matter. What matters is that you are motivated to do the public speaking. And the common thing that all speakers have, the common question they are always looking an answer for is, how do I keep my audience in the room? Now, of course, there are a couple of easy solutions that you can do, like lock the door and don't let them leave. But let's talk about some less invasive methods that you can apply. Which brings us to the first pillar of mastering the public speaking, which is respect your audience. It's not really visible here, but I like to look at the audience as a hall full of mirrors. Every mirror that you look at reflects back at you with a different angle. You get a completely different image. And the only way that you can see that you're doing a good stage act, that you're doing something, is that you look yourself in the audience's eyes. Which means that maintaining eye contact all the time while you're speaking is something that you have to be good at. Now, I have seen a couple of really great experts in certain areas of expertise that they know how to deliver stuff, but they are completely absent from the audience. And the reason why they do that is because they are afraid of the reaction of the audience or disappointment in their eyes. And the fact that they are not maintaining eye contact is the reason why the audience is disappointed, because the speaker is absent from the room. So you have to do eye contact. That's something that is mandatory. Now, the other stuff that you do by mistake is that you're on the stage, it's a bit elevated, and you continue to look in your line of sight. And there are actually people sitting in the front rows that are looking at you. This is actually a good scene here. There is some distance, but I had the opportunity to speak on events where audience was sitting like 1 meter away from me. And then it's not only that they are sitting there, but you kind of feel that your safe space is endangered. You have to overcome that. You have to watch every single guy, girl in the room and pay attention to them. Now, it's very easy that you start to look for approval for what you're saying. So you're trying to see who is looking at you, who's smiling at your jokes, and then you realize there is a person in the audience who kind of smiles at you all the time, and then you continue to look at that person, and you establish a personal contact, and then you have a dialogue, and you ignore the rest of the audience. That is something that you don't want to do. Then also, there is always that one guy who is sleeping in the audience, and you are like completely angry at him because how dares he to speak at your event? You put a lot of effort, and he's just taking a nap. But there's actually a different kind of truth that you didn't consider. He might have overtime at work or maybe late studies. And he pulled out the last bit of his energy to come here to listen to you. And all he needed is a bit of your attention. But because you were looking there and not at him, he kind of fell asleep. So it's your duty to keep people who are sleeping alive. Now, the PowerPoint is main weapon of your session. You have to, first you have to give some happening, some animation to the audience, and also it's used to remind you what you have to say. But if you do stuff like this, people focus to read what you just written, and then they are reading like a wall of text, and nobody is listening to you. So you can as well just leave the stage, sit down, put the timer on, and let the text scroll at some normal pace. So don't do this, because the main reason why are you here is to entertain your audience all the time. If you're not able to do that, you will lose their focus. Now, once you have established the connection with the audience, you have a clear channel through which you can put your thoughts directly into their mind. You have a limited amount of time through which that channel is being open. It depends only on how much are you able to keep their attention span. So you have to focus on what do you actually want to deliver. You have to, if you're covering a broad topic like this one, you have to focus on what exactly do you want to cover in those 15 minutes and take the most interesting parts and deliver those parts. Now that we have touched base on the concept or on the content that you have to deliver, next pillar that you have to learn how to master is to be relevant. That means that everybody has an opinion, and everybody is entitled to it. Everyone is free to express their views. But audience, people who are coming to events like this actually want to learn about stuff that has been proven, about your expertise that is backed up with great results or with some facts. Talking only about, expressing only your opinion on how things could be done is sometimes good, but people really want to take something away from your session. So when we say be relevant, you have to actually talk about topics that you have some results behind. However, in some scenarios, you actually cannot pick the topic. You have been asked to deliver some content. Now, the easiest option is just to say, no, I don't feel comfortable speaking about that topic. But there are ways that you can actually do that. So if you're new to an area and you're doing the research, what you can do is to lower the expectations of the audience. So if you're not an expert, right away at the very beginning, inform the audience that you're not the expert, but you are excited about the topic and you want to share that excitement with them. That helps you to keep the senior audience in the room. You just have to invite them. You tell them, please stay, don't leave. Help me out to make this session very interesting. So share the excitement, invite experienced audience to stay, and what will happen is that the experienced audience will give you comments, remarks, advices. Embrace them. Do not escape them. Those people are actually helping you personally to move forward, to learn more about that topic. So don't pretend to be an expert if you really are not an expert. The other approach that you can take is to declare a session as a debate or discussion. That means that you will form a topic that indicates that there will be some discussion about something. Like, for example, if you're doing a tech talk, you can say technology X versus technology Y. Which one is better for the future? That will inform the audience that they will not learn something concrete, but rather be involved in the larger discussion. So focus when you're building that kind of session is not on building statements, because you're not an expert. You cannot back them up with expertise, with experience. Your focus is to build as much intriguing questions as you can. Those intriguing questions will keep the session alive and make audience engaged. The next pillar also that we have to talk about is to be reliable. You cannot be 60% of the time right. You cannot be 60% right 100% of the time, or the other way around. I have managed to build a career of professional speaking. Path was really long. It took me a lot of practicing, a lot of sessions that I didn't know how it will end up, but I decided to take a risk. If you want to build career, one important thing that you always have to take care of is how to maintain your credibility. That means that you cannot lead people to believe that something is true if it is not. That happens quite often when the speakers are asked a question from the audience that they didn't prepare for, And instead of saying that they do not know the answer, they basically start to twist the facts. They introduce the terminology that is not even relevant to the topic, just to make the audience confused, to shift away the fact that they don't know the answer. There is absolutely nothing wrong in not knowing all the answers to all the questions. If you mislead someone once or twice, you can do it once or twice, but sooner or later that will backfire at you. People will know that you're not talking the correct facts, and you will lose your credibility, and that is something that is really, really hard to recover from. So everyone makes mistakes. Don't be afraid of it. As long as you're transparent about it, it's fine. Don't think about yourself that you're a bad speaker. It happens occasionally. And the final pillar, which is actually the one of the most important ones, is when you start to talk as a public speaker, your first sessions are the most difficult ones for you. You don't know, can you do it? You're experimenting. But over time, you get comfortable. You know what tricks can you use, where is your safe area. And at some point, you might even start to believe that you're better than the audience, that you're the smartest guy in the room. There is no such a thing as the smartest guy in the room. You could be, at that point, the most informed guy in the room on that specific topic, but it's just a small room. So you don't want ever, no matter what, to look from the above. If you are senior and you're talking to students, don't look above on them. Sometimes in the past you have been at their position. Also, that we have basically touched the two arch enemies of a public speaker, and those are the fame and glory. If those get into your head, you will go to the path that eventually people will dislike you because they will say that you're pompous and you just no matter how good quality of your content is, people will simply not follow you. On the other hand, if you remain humble, modest, and easy to approach, you will solve that first problem that we have mentioned, and that problem is how to keep people in the room. Because at that point, if you deliver quality, you're reliable, you're humble and approachable, you become an influencer. Then you don't have a problem keeping people in the room, because those people are following you. Wherever you speak, you have a group of fans that come to listen to you. And that is something that you want to do. Also, do not confuse confidence with arrogance. Confidence is something that is actually expected by the audience. They do not want to talk, the audience does not want to hear ideas from a guy who's not even believing in those ideas himself. So confidence is something that is not related to arrogance. So if you want to emphasize something, make it important to do it. People really need to know that you stand behind what you say. And finally, as you can see, I'm walking around doing different stuff. Postures, gestures, body movement, everything comes into play together with your voice and with your content. All that is part of your stage appearance. But be aware, especially on events like this, people tend to get creative when you do certain movements. So just a slide forward. When it comes to a personality type, if you're a serious guy and you like to talk seriously, don't force a smile on your face. In most situations, it's just going to look awkward. If you're a cheerful kind of guy like myself that likes to smile a lot, just continue to smile a lot. It's not going to make any difference. And the final thing that I want to send as a message to you, because I hope some of you will be the next TEDx speaker, is how to start. Basically, there are a lot of events happening around all the time, this one being one of them. You can start by just starting to attend those events. Doesn't matter if you are really good at that area, just go there and listen to the people that are speaking. First thing that you will see is that they are not actually that good speakers, but they actually just enjoy to share knowledge. And you will see that you're not that far away from them. Second thing that you can do is, if you don't know how to actually formulate the telling story, how to keep your pace, go sign up for some learning platform and listen to some courses just to see find the best authors there and just listen how they talk. It's not wrong to learn from those that are better than you. Then plan your topic wisely. As we said, be relevant. Pick something that will be interesting to people and that will help people to learn something new. You can't learn people in 15 minutes something, but you can motivate them to go to learn more. So pick a topic that will motivate people to learn later after your session is done. Once you're done with selecting a topic, you go again to fill those gaps. I've already explained why is that important. Then practice a lot. Rehearse. Rehearse with your family, with your friends. Even though you think you have everything under control, once you get up on the stage, it all collapses. So you need to reverse your flow to have your message delivered. Jumping around in the flow, saying, oh, okay, I have remembered that, I need to go back. Okay, sorry, that's really not going to help you to do a session with a good quality. And then when you're ready, just go for it. Don't delay it. Inevitably, when you think you're good enough, just go and give it a try. Again, raise the expectations of the audience. Tell them that you're new, and they will basically forgive you your gaps. My experience that audience is very forgiveful if you are, again, modest and humble. When you're done, analyze the feedback that you have received. If you haven't received it, ask for it. Learn from it. That is the most important part of your improvement. Once you learn from the feedback, incorporate it in your sessions and repeat, and then you have become a public speaker. Thank you.